What is going on, everyone? Welcome to 24/7 Football. And today, as the Premier League was back yesterday, we want to know what it was like to attend a game behind closed doors. So we've got Chris Wilson with us, who's from Genius Sports. They basically do the betting updates and live stats for Premier League and other football games as well. So certain journalists and statisticians, is what I'll call you, Chris, are allowed into the ground. So you were at the City game yesterday. We're going to talk through the process, but was it weird being in an empty stadium of a game of that magnitude?
Yeah, it was strange. I mean, City, Arsenal, 9 times out of 10, that in the Etihad, it's a 60,000 sellout. So to go in and every single seat be covered by a plastic covering was it? Yeah, it was very strange. Absolutely no atmosphere at all. Obviously, there was fans behind on screens behind the goal, but there's absolutely no atmosphere. You can every time the ball's kicked, you can hear it. Every tackle, you can hear. Yeah, it was just really strange. Obviously, all you can hear in the ground is the commentators. That is literally it. Like Pep and Arteta shouting from the sideline, you can hear everything. It's just very, very strange.
So what was the protocol behind it all? So I assume before you even went to the ground, as you got selected on that game, there was so many strict protocol you already had to follow.
Yeah, I mean, like most people have seen on Monday, the Premier League released all the protocols. So from Monday to Wednesday, it's quite a quick turnaround. So in fairness to City, they turned it round pretty quickly because they only obviously got the protocols Monday. So we had to fill in a health form on the day of the game. So Wednesday morning, you had to send off a health form to City. So it was asking sort of, have you been abroad in the last 14 days, which obviously next to nobody will have been. But have you been ill? So have you got a temperature, sore throat? There was all sorts of different things on there that probably weren't related to COVID. But if you had any of them, I don't think they'd probably let you in.
Did you have to get tested?
No, we didn't have to get tested, no. But we went through like enough checks that probably comes close to a test unless you were sort of asymptomatic. So we just had to fill a questionnaire and send that off to City. And then internally, we had to fill in like a risk assessment form to say sort of where you was going, what was doing, what you'd be doing there, sort of thing. And then our City sent a big 24-page document as well to read about sort of not terms and conditions, but protocols and what would happen on the day that you had to follow, what you had to do, what you had to bring to the game, what the players would be doing. So we knew all this before we went, but it's different reading it off paper to when you actually get there because the protocol was very different to what was on that paper.
So you got to the stadium.
Yeah.
What was that actually like finding your way in? And
It's
how weird was it? Where did you have to go and things like that?
it's strange because normally you get stuck in a bit of like obviously I get there before most like general fans, but there was no match day traffic as well. So like going down like Mancunian Way and in that way there was just no traffic. It was a dream. So obviously you go onto the car park and there's this sort of a steward stood on the front with an iPad and like if your name's not on that list, you're not going on the car park. It's all like very strict. As you park up, you just like even the cars are socially distanced. Like I think there was a car and then a space empty, and then you park yours. And then from there, it's all signposted. It's like a strict walkway around the ground. So through all these barriers, the stewards dotted around, like all the way around the ground. So you follow these barriers down, and then like for any City fans who probably know, like where City at home bit is, that was where like there was two signs. There was like there's a red, amber, and green zone in the ground. So we was only allowed in amber, so you have to queue up in an amber queue to go in. You give your name in on the desk. They make sure that you've done the questionnaire, because if not, then they have to ask you all these questions there. So it just speeds up the process, I guess. And then once you've given your name in there, you have to stand against the wall with your back to someone who points like a radar at you.
Oh, really?
Temperature, and then you turn around, and then they take your temperature from the front, and then they have to like read it out and consult someone to say whether like you're hot enough or not.
Were you hot enough, Chris, to
Mine
get
was
into
really
the Etihad?
close. Mine was really close.
Really?
Yeah, mine was 37.3.
What's the threshold?
I think it's 37.8.
Wow. Well, it
So
was a humid day on your defence.
yeah, I mean it was warm, but it was really close. I mean, like, I don't know what would have happened if it was 37.8. I'd assume they'd just say no, you can't come in. So I think they would have been quite strict about it. But then obviously you have to follow through the building inside, queue up, and then there's like footmarks all over the floor, so you can't move to the next one until the person in front of you's moved. It's all like very strict. Stewards dotted around, and like if you're not stood on that blue marker to say stand here, he will move you.
Really?
They are really that strict about it. So
Was it good in a way though as well? That
yeah, I mean
you
it's
feel
good.
safe.
Yeah, you feel safe in there. Like before you go into the city at home building, you have to sanitize your hands. Like when you come out, you sanitize your hands. You act like they're dotted round everywhere. You can't not wash your hands. So like once you've had your temperature checked as well, the next bit you go to is for a face mask. And that's compulsory. You've no choice but to wear that. Um, so then once you've picked that up, you get your accreditation, and they're sat like a I don't know, like a school desk. They've put sort of three side to side, so the people at the other side of the desk are that far away, and they just like throw you pass over the side to the other side of the table for you to take it, and then you have to sort of come out the back of there. It's all very strange, but it's all like it makes sense to me because I was there, but to explain it, it's more difficult.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Sort
So
of like
in terms of the game, then, see, you've gone in. Obviously, you're in the press area. Everyone's spread out. You've got
yeah.
loads of the players near you as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, sort of when came out of City at home and you sort of going into the stadium, like all the players were just arriving in the cars. I mean, sort of as I was walking past the red entrance where the players go in, like Fernandinho and Jesus were just walking about, I don't know, probably only less than 10 meters away from you, and you can't sort of go near them and like get a picture and nothing like that, which the normal person would want to do. Yeah, but like all the players were arriving as we were going past. I mean, I think I was showing you the video, and that it is strange. And obviously, when you go in, you then have to walk through it's like I don't know whether it's a heat detector or a metal detector, but you have to walk through this thing to go in. And obviously, if the alarm goes off, you're either getting searched or you're getting sent away. I don't know how it would have worked. And yeah, it's all one way into the ground, one way system into the press box. You get taken to your seat. It's all very strict. There's obviously no press room open, so there's like no food, no drinks, nothing. Like all, I didn't. You probably know at City all the Tunnel Club seats. They all had like a white. Certain ones had a white bib on, so you could only sit in a seat with a white bib on if you was sort of. I don't know, like Brian Kidd was sat a couple of rows in front, but he could only sit on a seat with a white bib on. Then all the subs were sat in them seats as well, but only ones with a white bib on. They were all like really, really close. It was just a strange. It's just very, very strange. You think so?
Yeah, I bet it was such a weird environment to be in for a football game.
Yeah, I
Did
mean, go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say in terms of the actual game itself, did it have more of a pre-season feel for you whilst you were in there? And
Yeah, I
was it
mean,
weird, like when you say Pep Guardiola, you can just hear everyone
so,
shouting?
yeah, I mean, there was one in the first half where De Bruyne sort of challenged. I think it was Ceballos. He went in with his studs, and the ref gave a foul. And sort of as he gave it, all you could hear was De Bruyne screaming at him, screaming, "No, no way!" And it's quite good in a way to sort of hear what the players actually say to the ref, because in a general game you would never hear what they said because of the crowd noise and probably 60,000 telling the ref a lot worse than what De Bruyne said to him. But it was sort of with the job I've done like a lot of under 23s games in stadiums where there's no one, and it's just like working on an under 23s game. There's just nobody in there. It's just real. It's just eerie. I mean, City
Yeah,
did the best to try and sort of boost the atmosphere. I mean, like when they had the water break, they played music and things like that, and this like the stadium announcer, he's saying "Welcome to the pitch, the Arsenal and Man City goalkeepers," which is neither use nor ornament. I think some of the like staff felt quite sorry and ended up starting to clap, like the NHS staff
yeah,
and
yeah,
ambulance people who were there ended up clapping, which was quite comical. But
What were the screens for the fans like? Because I know there was certain fans on the screen. Did they help at all? Because I
No,
saw one of them
I
cheering when Eric
don't.
Garcia got injured.
I don't think. I don't think they actually made any noise, or not that I could hear anyway.
They were just watching,
They
so
were
it's
just
even
watching.
weirder.
So it's even stranger. I mean, if you was sort of going, if you were bearing down, well, I mean, Aguero was in the like late on, he was bearing down 1-on-1, and you've got sort of, I don't know, John from Manchester staring at you behind the goal because they're not that far away from the goal. It must have been quite off-putting for him. But yeah, that was a bit strange. I didn't really get that.
Mm.
But I suppose it's just anything to make the fans feel a bit more included.
Yeah, I get that. What was the atmosphere like? Obviously, when Eric Garcia went down, because that was a long pause and looked like a pretty serious knock.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that too dissimilar to a normal game where sort of everyone's sort of shuts up and you're like actually worried for him because it was quite a bad incident. But yeah, it was just really quiet. Everyone was sort of a bit taken back by it because we've got the screens in front and we can see he's like the guy. I think he was out cold, weren't he? He'd had some sort of like breathing aid put in his mouth by the looks of it, so we knew it was quite bad. But yeah, it was really quiet, like it would be on a normal game. It's just that there's less people in there.
Did you manage to catch Jamie Carragher walking around everywhere? I think he only came on TV like twice, and he was quite
Yeah,
near you at one point,
yeah,
wasn't
he
he?
was. I mean, I seen him, and if he's watching, Jamie, you need to wear a face mask, mate. I saw you without one on. Yeah,
Out in Jamie Carragher.
he didn't have his face covering on, but no, yeah, he was there with Gary Neville and Micah Richards, I think it was, wasn't it, and David Jones. Yeah, I don't know where he ended up going though, because I mean, I only saw Richards after that. I don't know where Cara went.
He was supposed to be on like a roaming roll around the stadium, and like, he
Oh,
only
was he
came.
stood? I think I might have seen him actually stood over the far side.
Yeah. He was like walking around trying to
Yeah,
get a
I've
better
seen him
perspective or
actually.
something.
Yeah, I wondered what was happening. I wondered who it was. That must have been who it was. Yeah,
Um,
just go on.
I was gonna say after the game then. So so all the interviews are taking place, socially distanced. What happens then towards the end of the game? Are you allowed to stick around, or is it just straight out of the
Yeah, I mean,
stadium?
if for us, like, there's no point for us sticking around after the games. We don't need to do like any interviews or anything. So I just get straight off, and obviously no traffic coming out the ground, nothing. It was a dream. But I believe they did post-match press conferences on Zoom. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's something new.
yeah, because
But
Chris Wilder was talking about what happened with the goal line set yesterday, but on
yeah,
Zoom, so they have to do it via Zoom. Yeah,
yeah, they did like a Zoom interview, and I know at the side of the pitch, Jeff Shreves was sort of interviewing Guardiola and Arteta, like just a funny story. I mean, like just before the game, Arteta must have been brought out by Arsenal's media manager to do his interview, and I thought, oh, he's just going to stand in front of the screen and Jeff Shreves will talk to him. But no, Jeff Shreves wasn't having that. He gave him a little elbow bump with Guardiola. Not Guardiola, sorry, Arteta. It was quite fun. It was quite funny.
do you not get any elbow bumps in? No,
No, they wouldn't let me near anyone. Well,
it's probably for
yeah,
the best.
I mean, obviously, being so close to where the subs were, they were literally sort of, 5-10 meters in front of us, but it was like cordoned off, so you couldn't even get close. I mean, not for like a socially distanced selfie or nothing. Would have been strange, but
Managed to get anywhere near David Luiz? What was he? What was he like after he went
closest I
off?
got was when he was going down the tunnel. But no, he had a mare, didn't he? The guy's he's a bit of he's a bit of a loose cannon, isn't he? I'd be surprised if he plays for Arsenal again,
Yeah,
barring injuries.
yeah, really awful game for him. So you carrying on doing obviously your role throughout football being back. Do you enjoy it more without fans, or because of
No,
the traffic, or is it always?
it's good without the traffic, but it's better with fans. You can't, like, I know I haven't watched any games on the telly yet 'cause I've not had a chance, but I believe like the crowd noise is a bit of a help, but you can't replicate the fans in the stadium. It's just like watching a game of real life football with FIFA commentary. You might as well put Alan Smith and Martin Tyler on every single game because that is sort of how it's being done now, but you can't replicate the feel of actual fans in the stadium. It's just different when all you can hear is sort of 5 or 6 people doing their own commentaries. It's not normal. It's not good, but it's better than nothing, and that's what football unfortunately is going to be like for at least the rest of this season and probably into next, if we're being honest. Can't see, or definitely not full stadiums. Whether they can perhaps fill to a third capacity, so maybe at City you could have 20,000 like fans in, and that would be able to sort of be socially distanced at that point. But even still at that point, I think it's quite far-fetched. Just sort of for the procedures we had to go through to get, I don't know, probably 100 people, 100 press perhaps, I don't know, that'd be a conservative guess. 100, 150 press into the ground. The effort that it took and like the protocol that you have to follow and the time it took to get into the ground, I don't think you could possibly get 20,000 people in before kickoff, unless people were arriving hours before the game. I just don't think it's feasible at the moment, especially with the 2-metre rule as well. It's just not possible. But perhaps it's something that they'll look at in the future. But it definitely won't be this year, I don't think. But we'll see about that.
Well, Chris, thank you for coming on today, mate. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Taking the time out of your day as well.
Schedule it now, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you very much for coming on. I hope you all enjoyed listening to Chris's version of what it is like to watch a big game behind closed doors, because from what I get, pretty weird experience. So thanks to Chris again for coming on. Hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, subscribe to the channel, like the video, keep an update on 247football.com, and we'll see you next time.